Hello everyone. I am going to show, I did a Japanese stab binding on a stream, and I wanted to make just a really quick video showing the process of the stitch without any distractions. So I am just using some nylon thread. I'm going to use some index cards, and the only thing that is a drawback for me for the Japanese stab binding is you are sewing together quite a bit of the page. You're sewing all of this together and you are losing that amount. But if you are sewing single sheets together, like an iCAD or something like that, this is a really good way to put those single sheets together and be able to look at them. But if you are planning on using this, just keep in mind that you will be losing that much of your page. It's underneath the binding here. So while you're creating your page, you just want to keep that in mind so you don't lose anything really important. I am just going to use index cards again, just some plain index cards. And I'm just using some nylon thread. You can use anything you have, just about anything. Baker's twine or embroidery floss would be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip my pages together with binder clip. And I'm going to cut some holes. You can do this with more than 4 holes if you have a larger area to do. This is pretty short, so I'm just going to use 4 holes. Let's get a black pen out here so we can see. And I am going to use a ruler, and my card is 3 inches. And I am going to come in, I'm going to come in about a 1/2 inch. Anywhere from 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch. The thicker your binding is, the more stable the binding will be. So I'm going to do 1/2 inch in, and I am going to line up the 2 and the 5 here so I have my 3 inches. I want 4 holes. So let's see, if I put 1 there and another one equal distance here. Actually, I want them just a little bit more in. I am going to put it 1/2 inch in. 1/2 inch in, and then I usually just guesstimate for this. I don't usually measure exact. I really just guesstimate. So however you want to do that. I am using the 4 holes. I'm just taking a push pin to make my holes. And I'm going to wiggle that around a little bit, make sure my hole is big enough for my needle. And I'm just going to do that for all 4 holes. And like I said, you can do this with 5 holes, 6 holes. It's really easy after you get the hang of it. The first couple of knowing where to put the threads is the tricky part. It's not that difficult, but just takes a couple of tries. Sometimes you get it on the first try. So I have poked through all of my holes, and I am going to thread a blunt needle. Now I'm going to use about 5, a little bit more lengths of thread to make sure that I have enough. How many was that? think that was 5, and then a little bit more for wiggle room, so I have to tie it off at the end, and all that good stuff. So I have got a piece of thread out here. Just going to thread my needle. Okay. And I am going to start in between some of these pages, like halfway through. I am going to lay my thread down through there. And kind of catch it with the binder clip so it doesn't move out, so I can get it nice and tight. So you've got the thread here. And I am going to go down through one of the middle holes. Let's see if I can do this up in the air. Just going to go down through the middle hole there. All right. Just like that. And then I'm going to put all my pages together. And so I've got the thread in the bottom. I'm just going to come all the way up and go through the entire hole, all the way back down to the bottom. And make sure that it's snug, but not bending your papers. Okay, so that's what you've got. You've got a loop. So then I'm going to go to the next hole and go all the way through. I might have too much thread here. Okay, and then I'm going to go around the edge and back through that hole. Like that. And then I'm going to go, turn around so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go back down to the corner hole and go through the entire thing. I'm going to loop around the outside here again. Like that. So I'm all the way through. And then I'm going to go around the outside through that same hole. So you're doing this stitch and then this stitch on the side. And I've got a lot of thread in there now. The needle doesn't want to come through the hole. All right, come on. There we go. So we went through this one, and now we went through the side. Okay? And then all we want to do is go back down through this hole to connect these two stitches. Let's see if I can get it pulled through. All right. And then you see that these two stitches need connecting, so we're going to go down that way. Come on. My holes need to be just a little bit bigger, I think. Okay, so we're here, and I'm going to go to that last hole that doesn't have anything in it yet. I'm going to go through the whole thing, around the spine, like that, and then around the edge. And it's not really that complicated. It just a couple of times and you'll get the map of the stitches. So we've got all of that. And then we're going to go back down through part of that. We started with this hole, so we've got our thread somewhere in the center. So we want to meet up this thread with that thread in the center. So we only want to go through the hole through to meet them. Does that make any sense? We don't want to go all the way through the binding. We just want to go through the pages that we didn't go through the first time. So let me see if I can get the needle. There we go. All right. So we've got both of our tails out here, and we've got our stitches all the way across, looped around the binding of the outside here, and then the ends both get that. Make sure that your threads are pretty tight. So let's open that up. I'm going to fold my pages so I can get to my threads. You can see what's going on here. Alright, so here's where my threads are. I want to make sure that they're both pretty tight. So I'm going to tighten them up individually because they come from two different directions. Make sure that they're nice and tight. And then I am going to tie a knot, a little square knot, right there, and kind of let it go into that binding a little bit. All right. And then I am going to take my thread and scooch it between the binding here to pull it out here. And I'm going to try to loop that other little tail around there so that it goes as well. And this kind of hides your tails a little bit. And see, it didn't go all the way, so I'm going to have to push it through with the needle so I can get the tail hidden is what I'm trying to do. All right, in you go. Let's see if I can catch it with the needle. There we go. So I pulled it out. All right. And I've got the knot right in here. If I pull those tails a little bit, it kind of pulls the knot so that it's not quite so noticeable. And I can cut off the tails right there so that the tails are inside the binding and hidden. Hidden, kind of. I'm going to tuck those in just a little bit. Okay, so that's what you've got, is your binding. And it's just a matter of going through, wrapping all the way around, going to the next stitch, wrapping all the way around. It just takes a couple of times. You'll get it. It's really easy. And then what you have to do is fold your pages over the binding so that the book will open. You can use a bone folder or whatever you want to use. So I like to do them individually. And there you go. It's the Japanese stab binding. It really is simple. It's really a nice one for single sheets. You want your papers to be fairly sturdy. You don't want to do this with thin paper. It would probably rip. Some people actually put a cover on it. So that is it. That is everything. Japanese stab binding. Thanks for watching.